There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
How is your mental health? Billie Eilish, Kevin Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Imagine Dragons, Lil Nas X, and so many more feel the same pressures we do. They're joining our host, Carson Daly, for I'm Listening, September 23rd, starting at 6 p.m. right here. Carson and a cast of mental health experts, athletes, musicians, other notables, and you will share stories, insights, and help us all remember that we are not alone. Please join us, because talking about our mental health has the power to save lives. For more, visit imlistening.org.
Moose and Maggie hanging out with you until 2 o'clock. So wanted to bring something to your attention because it's a really, really great documentary film. It's done in a really cool style, Moose. It's called Remembering the Game for New York. And what it is
tremendous.
It's Mark DeRosa and 5 other former players who are from the New York area and who were playing in the September 21st, 2001 game, the Mike Piazza home run game, the first pro
when baseball
sporting
returned, yeah.
The first pro sporting event in New York of any kind after 9/11. It airs tonight at 10 o'clock on MLB Network, and then it will re-air on Saturday at 1:30 and at 5:30. And Mark DeRosa, of course, spent 16 years in Major League Baseball. He's from Carlstadt, New Jersey, Bergen Catholic High School. He needs no introduction. We'll give him one anyway. Mark, this is really like you kind of spearheading this feature, and it's really amazing. What was it like from your perspective to talk to these other New York area guys, and you guys are all connected by playing in that very memorable game?
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I was telling you, I listen to you guys. You are right in my pocket when I get off work driving around. So
Love
I'm
it.
listening
Thank you.
The Odyssey app. You can download it.
Yep. I think for me, I was humbled at first when the features department kind of came to me and said, hey, we're kind of throwing this idea around about 9/11 and wanting to get a feel for all the guys from the surrounding area that played in the game. And I said, I'm telling you, if we just stick a camera in a room and put us just kind of all sitting at a round table, we'll get some good stuff and then kind of build off that. But you guys know your idea of what the features departments and how creative they are and what they put together. I mean, when I was able to see the rough cut of it, I was, just blown away to be a part of it. But it was one of those games, Maggie, where you asked 15 different players on either team, should we have been there? I think you would have got 15 different answers. And we didn't know what was right. We didn't know what was wrong. But when Mike Piazza hit that home run, I've said this, it's the only game I ever played in where I was like, from pitch one, I wanted Jason Marquis to do well because he's my boy and he's from Staten Island. But I felt like we had to lose that game. And when he hit that homer, I looked at Bobby Cox real quick because I wanted that reaction, because normally he would start throwing. I mean, stuff would get chucked in the dugout, and he was like, yeah, everybody in the dugout was like, this needs to happen. And for that one small moment, it felt like people forgot for a second about what was happening.
Mm-hmm. The memorable Piazza home run off of Carsey is the thing that obviously people talk about most about that night, Mark. But if you take yourself back 20 years, and the documentary, the piece is great, and everybody should be tuned in tonight or check it out tonight or over the weekend on MLB Network. If you take us back 20 years to that night, what do you remember most? What hits you about that night?
Yeah, the pregame stuff, Moose. First off, the trepidation from a lot of guys, like on the bus going to the yard. It was the first time. Should we be playing? Is it safe to be playing? How is this going to go down? What kind of game is it going to be? But I just remember all the first responders, and they rolled it out in such a grandiose way. You felt like you wanted to enjoy it, but at the same time,
how could you?
You couldn't. I thought I had no knowledge of the fact that we were going to meet and shake hands. I remember Joe McEwing being the guy that I kind of was walking towards, and Super Joe was awesome and a utility player like myself. So I felt like I was a little kindred spirit right there. So that was totally organic. Come to find out, Bobby Valentine, Bobby Cox had kind of orchestrated that. So I remember all the pregame lead up. I remember the national anthem. I remember locking eyes with my parents in the family section. And I mean, my dad wasn't a crier, but that got everybody in that place. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And just kind of unbelievable. See it all in Shea Stadium take place.
We all remember that night, and it's you speaking with Al Leiter, obviously, Jersey, John Franco, Brooklyn, Steve Carsey, Queens, Jason Marquis, Staten Island, Dave Martinez, Brooklyn, Long Island, maybe a little Manhattan in there. Mark, your personal experience and what you remember. What about the guys you talked to? Because you're kind of helping navigate and kind of starting the conversation in this documentary. What surprised you or stood out from the other players who are from the New York area who experienced that game?
Yeah, just the different ways families raise their kids. I mean, I grew up in Carlstadt, New Jersey. The city was big and bad to my parents. We didn't go in much. I mean, maybe Broadway show once, if I can remember, maybe dinner once. We didn't really trek through the Lincoln Tunnel until I made it to the big leagues. So for me, the Twin Towers were always just a backdrop of my wiffle ball games and my Nerf football games, on the streets. For Jason Marquis, completely different growing up in Staten Island. His parents wanted him cultured and liked going into the city constantly. So he had a real connection with New York City. Obviously, I thought John Franco was right man, right time for the Mets.
Right.
Brooklyn through and through. A legend, St. John's, everything. So everybody had their little. Steve Carsey blew me away as well. We went back to where he actually grew up, his childhood home in College Point in Queens, and you see it, and it's like, man, to think like from that window in this tough town to first round pick to the big leagues to being on the mound that night, and he talked about being able to hear Shea Stadium during the '86 World Series from just outside his front steps. So everybody kind of came at it from a different angle, but the toughness of what New York represents and the tri-state area is the same for all of us.
Mark, what did Bobby Cox tell you guys before the game?
He didn't say he didn't say much. He didn't have many meetings, to be honest with you, Moose. No one knew how to act, so we just treated it like a normal game. I think that was the way he wanted it to be handled. Like I said, I pinch ran the eighth. That was kind of par for the course. Maybe a pinch run, maybe a pinch hit, whatever, coming up through the game. I just think for me, the biggest thing was all the karma moments and all the random moments. And that's why this doc kind of came together for Carsey and for Johnny Franco and for Jason Marquis and all those guys to be in those moments, especially Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, the Braves built on, Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz always had a four that was decent, whether it be a Denny Nagel, a Kevin Millwood, who was really good. And then they'd infuse this one young guy and see if he could cut his teeth. And it just happens to fall on a kid from Staten Island that moment. And for him to go out and dominate, I know how much it meant to him to kind of honor New York in that moment. But I don't remember Bobby saying anything crazy going into the game.
Mark, you mentioned that, Piazza hits that home run off Carsey. Your first, look is toward your manager, Bobby Cox, to see his reaction, right? I'm curious, watching him round the bases after that, what are you thinking on the bench as a Braves player?
That's the way it's supposed to be. That's what I was thinking. That's the way it's supposed to be. And for all the years I was with the Atlanta Braves, parts of 7 seasons, when you lost a ball game, when you were on the road, that ride back to the hotel, there was no talking. You were to honor the guy who gave up runs. Whoever made a big error, just own it. You weren't on the phones, nothing. Boom, quiet until we got back to the lobby. That night, it was guys having conversations about how great that was, that took place. So I thought it's the one game I ever competed in, whether, at the big league level or on the street corner, that I didn't want to win. And that's still true to this day. And fast forward, one of the coolest games, and I hate to say this, but a couple weeks later, the Metsies were coming, and Brian Jordan down in Turner Field took John Franco walk-off granny or walk-off 3-run bomb, if I'm not mistaken. It kind of iced them out, then knocked them out. So I remember it like, all right, we're going to let this moment belongs to the Mets. There's still time to bury them at some point at the end of the year.
Yeah, that did not make it into the doc. That anecdote did not make it in. No. Mark DeRosa is joining us. Remembering the Game for New York airs on MLB Network tonight. And again, it's Mark and 5 other players from the New York area who were there on the Mets or on the Braves in that game, September 21st, 2001. So, Mark, 20 years later now, you get together with all of these New York area guys. What did it mean to all of you to look back 20 years later and think you were a small part of what became, the beginning of the healing for the city?
Yeah, I think, Maggie, like you, when you see the footage as they're putting the doc together, I always kind of watch all the documentaries on A&E and kind of follow it throughout I've been to the Freedom Tower multiple times. It was personal. Al Leiter says it in the piece. For the guys that grew up around here, we always felt like the Twin Towers were just this shining light of power. And, you know how we feel about New York City. We're the biggest bad going. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was personal. I say this story a lot, and people are like, you got to be kidding me. It was like 2011, 2012-ish. I'm playing with the San Francisco Giants, and me and Jason Marquis, he was with the Nats at the time, and we're having dinner in Washington, D.C., and he's driving me back to the team hotel, and I promise you this happened. I said, it's funny, Jay, we're in D.C., see all the monuments. I still want to know that we're looking for bin Laden. Like, I need to know that, because we hadn't heard anything. We get back to the hotel that night, breaking news, Osama bin Laden's been killed. Like, wow, this is like crazy stuff. So for me, I always felt like it was personal. I never wanted it to be forgotten. Wherever I went, the remainder of my career, I made it a point to go up to the guys and ask them if they wouldn't mind being out on the line for the national anthem on 9/11. I felt like those people they at least deserve that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Mark, as you sit down with all of these guys and you get their perspectives, we got your perspective. Is there anything that, the greatest thing of anyone, Leiter, Marquis, Franco, Dave Martinez, is there anything that, the biggest thing that you took away from all of it?
That's a good question. Just the pride we have for growing up in this part. Without question. I think the thing I took away probably the most was John Franco, because he was kind of in the fight. Not only he had to try and help that team win a division title, growing up from the area, kids in school in the area, figuring that all out. And in the meantime, Citi Field, I say Citi Field, Shea Stadium became almost like a triage staging area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
During recovery. So he was going from workouts to meeting widowers and trying to get supplies and helping out. Like, so he was carrying on, wearing so many hats during that time, and the Mets couldn't have been blessed with a more perfect human being to be in that moment for them.
Absolutely. Mark, listen, thank you so much for the time today. Can't tell you how much we, say enjoyed the documentary. It was so interesting to hear you guys talking about it all these years later and that New York connection and the baseball connection that you all had. It really is worth your time. It's called Remembering the Game for New York. Again, airs tonight at 10 on MLB Network. They're going to re-air it Saturday at 1:30 and at 5:30. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll talk to you again soon.
For having me on.
You got it.
And we're happy to keep you company on your way to the golf course every day.
Yeah. Do it.
Mark DeRosa.
Mark, by the way,
Carlstadt, New Jersey, stand up.
When did you go into the Bergen Catholic Hall of Fame, Mark? When did that happen?
Oh, my.
What's that?
Couple years ago.
ago.
Yeah.
Was the speech as good as Jeter's yesterday?
Not even close.
I bet you the plaque was more handsome.
I bet it was.
Because they did him dirty. Cooperstown. It's not fair. Not fair.
Hey, Mark, great job on MLB Network as always, and thanks for the time.
Thank you.
You got
Take
it.
care.
Check it out. Maggie gave you the details tonight. MLB Network, Remembering the Game for New York. It's going to re-air Saturday at 1:30 and also at 5:30. Really very touching, poignant
It's just really
piece.
different than anything that I've ever really seen about that time, that day, that game. You know, just really different and unique and really well done. So bravo to Mark and everyone at MLB Network because it was tasteful and well done.
I'm Erin Ryan, political commentator, comedy writer, and host of Crooked Media's Hysteria.
And I'm co-host Alyssa Mastromonaco, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff for President Obama.
Each week on Hysteria, we are joined by a team of hilariously opinionated ladies to discuss the headlines from the serious to the absurd.
We cover everything from reproductive rights to rom-coms and break down the political news of the week and cultural stories that affect women's lives.
New episodes of Hysteria drop every Thursday. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
You want to know what wagertainment is? It's the picks, the analysis, the information, mixed with the laughter and the entertainment, smart sports betting content that'll put a smile on your face.
The BetQL Network, streaming live each day and helping you bet smarter.
If you're a sports fan, you know why you should listen. It's sports betting content without the BS. No hot takes, no nonsense.
The BetQL Network, streaming live right now on Odyssey.
Sports, bets, and entertainment.